Well, hello there. I'm Dr. Lawrence W. Moore of the Wayfarer Project, and this is a video where I'm going to explain to you what I've been doing the past few weeks and where I'm going with the Wayfarer Project for the foreseeable future. Well, I've been through a major transition in my life, and I needed the past few weeks to get my studio ready for more music composition, sound art creation, multimedia art creation, and sharing those creations as well as tutorials with you. So hopefully we're about to embark on a great adventure. So what have I been doing? Well, first of all, behind me, I've been working on this area, trying to improve things and get them where I want them to be for my creativity as an artist at this point in time. And basically, I got the mixer out of here and put in my analog synthesizers. When I used to live in Miami, I was performing live with these synthesizers, and I really missed using them. I wanted to get them back, and I basically overhauled this workstation, where now, going from left to right, on the left side below the glowing tree, we have 3 Moogs stacked together there, a Mother 32 on top, a subharmonicon in the middle, and drummer from another mother on the bottom. 3 Rack style synthesizers that sound great and work together in synchronization in making some beautiful magic happen. Below that in the rack is a Dave Smith Prophet 8. Beautiful analog synthesizer. And moving to the right, might be hard to see, but there's a little Moog there called a Minitar. Great sound. And the Arturia key step, the white keyboard there in the front, is used to control it. Next to it, a mixer, a small format Soundcraft mixer, which is great for working with these synthesizers and basically mixing them all together, and also being able to route sound in a kind of like a live freeform sort of way. And to the right of that is a little Moog Werkstatt, which is great for sound bending and everything like that, wire bending or circuit bending. That's the right word. There we go. Because you can take the shell off and expose the parts and do a lot of different sorts of patching and interactivity directly with the circuits. To the right of that is the Behringer Model D, and it's a great sounding synthesizer as well, with another Arturia key step right in front of it so I can control it directly. And then over in the right hand side there below R2D2 are some effects. They're actually guitar effects pedals, but I use them with my synthesizers. 2 Moogs, 2 Moog Moogerfogers or Moogerfugers, however they like to pronounce it. One's a cluster flux. You got to be careful pronouncing these Moog terms. And next to it is a 12-step phaser, also by Moog. And behind that, TC Electronics flashback delay and a TC Electronics Hall of Fame reverb. So I could basically use these synthesizers and patch in the effects and use them in a live freeform sort of way. Basically, the idea here is this station having the ultra wide monitor that takes in 2 display signals, makes it a great place for me to do some live streaming for some live stream performances, musical impromptus, as well as some tutorials on analog synthesis, things like that. And so that station is about ready to go. I'm still waiting on a snake boom for the webcam so that I could basically hover the camera over the different synthesizers, and you'll be able to see what I'm doing during any performances or tutorials. I'll be able to record videos there and interact with software on the computer, and at the same time have live analog synthesizers going. And so I'm really looking forward to that. There'll be some great creativity coming out of that. All of this is designed to put my music, multimedia art creation, sound art, and tutorials front and center. In other words, there's going to be a lot more content coming much more frequently here at the Wayfarer Project, because I'm at a point in my life where I'm putting this front and center. So, in any case, what are some other things that I've been doing? Well, first of all, I've been converted. I'm now using Linux. Microsoft Windows is a thing of the past for me, and I am now utilizing Linux Mint, and it's been a bit of a journey, and these past few weeks have been really me trying to get things just right, get everything working, get the software that I want to use together. And so that's what I'm going to show you now, because the station that I'm recording at right now is a laptop station at the back of the room where I can do basically videos on software and things like that. So I have basically two composing stations. And I'm about to give you a little bit of a tour and show you what I've been doing and some of the areas I'm going to be going into. And feel free to leave a comment and let me know what of these topics would inspire you or be of interest to you, or if you have some suggestions, please let me know. If you have questions, please let me know as well. So yeah, that's one thing. Some live streams, performances, analog synthesis, that's one thing, but that's only part of it. I have a lot more to me that I do, and I'll be sharing it with you. So here we go. Okay, what do we see here? I thought you said you switched to Linux. Isn't this Ableton Live? Ableton Live is only for Windows and Mac. Yeah, that may be how it's distributed, but you can utilize it within Linux. And I'm running this within beautiful Linux Mint. I don't think we're in Windows anymore, Toto. All right, there we go. So, this is Ableton Live 11. It's the Suite edition. Basically a fresh install. The folks at Ableton have been very kind with me, because in my journey through different Linux distributions and using Wine, which is the software that allows you to run a Windows implementation within Linux in order to run Ableton, I had a few bumps and hurdles along the way, and been able to work them out. But yeah, in authorizing the software, it was working a little bit different, and then I had to scrap some things and wipe the hard drive, start over a couple times, and you know, they were very flexible with me, and I'm grateful for that. But yeah, I did pay for the software, so I want to be able to use it. Well, actually, I've been using Ableton for a few years now, and it's the one thing from Windows I took with me. Of course, it works for Windows and Mac, but plenty of people do use it within Linux, various distributions. I'm using Linux Mint. There's people that use it within Ubuntu, Debian, as well as Arch Linux, probably Manjaro as well. But for those of you that are Windows and Mac, I am not, let me emphasize this, I'm not leaving you behind. Most of what we're going to be doing, like here at Ableton, we'll be incorporating Ableton. Well, I'll be utilizing Ableton and making some tutorials, as well as creating music with Ableton. And it's not Linux software, so you guys are still included, definitely. I don't want to exclude anybody for their operating system or anything like that. I'll answer questions as best that I can. I have experience for just about my life up until this point with Windows. I used to teach at institutions that had Macintoshes, and so I don't have one near me anymore, so I can't go check things on it, but I'll try to help you as best as I can. But I'm using Linux now. So anyway, back to this. Here we go, Ableton. You're wondering, okay, so what's special about that? Well, this MIDI track here, where you see the signal coming in, this is a MIDI track, but what's it going to? Well, I'll show you. It's going to the Pure Data synthesizer I made in Learn Synthesis with Pure Data Series 1. If you haven't seen that series, please check it out. It's a great way to learn your fundamentals of synthesis as well as fundamentals of Pure Data to create your very own synthesizer. 2 oscillators, 2 VCOs, some tremolo, some FM, a filter, and an envelope for each of the oscillators. Basically 2 audio signal streams here, and then you can mix them together at the end. So I just called up a cute little sound here. And so you're wondering, well, if you've been seeing that series or series 2, Learn Synthesis with Pure Data, you're wondering, well, how do you get Pure Data working with a pretty standard DAW? Well, in Linux, I did it with this. And I'm sure there are, right now you're saying, okay, great, spaghetti patch cables. Those of you who are in Linux, maybe you're familiar with this or not. And those of you in Mac and Windows, you won't have this software, but there might be something similar. Basically, you would look for virtual MIDI connection software. I think Mac has that natively. You just need to look up how to do it. Windows, there's loopback MIDI. I've used that in the past so that you can make virtual MIDI connections between softwares. And then also here we have virtual audio connections as well. This stuff here at the top, just ignore that. That's for OBS. That's what I'm recording with right now. And so my audio is being fed into it, and as well as the monitor, meaning the sound from the computer is going into OBS here. So this stuff at the top is not relevant to this. Here's Pure Data, its inputs and outputs. So it's receiving inputs from my Motu M2 audio interface, although I'm not using this right now. I mean, I'm not using any sound in, well, I'm generating sound in Pure Data, but I'm not, taking input. The outputs from Pure Data, however, are going down here. I see, they kind of curl around here. It may be hard to see, but they're going right here to this. They're going to the inputs of Ableton Live. And then the outputs of Ableton Live, there's the monitor outs and then the main outs. I have both of those hooked up here going to the outputs of my interface. The outputs of my interface basically get received by OBS right here. Now, I didn't have to set most of this up because when you load in OBS, if you make your audio settings, the way you want them, those patch cables just come in, already set up for you. Basically, this is using Pipewire. So in Linux, there's ALSA, Pulse Audio, Jack, Pipewire, and Pipewire has gotten to the point now where it can take all these different ways of conveying sound and incorporate them all together. So those of you who are using Linux, yeah, this is the way a lot of us are going now. I mean, Jack's great, but Pipewire can incorporate it, in other words. And it makes it easier to patch things together. So anyway, some things will just come in set up, but some things I had to just patch myself, where I could say, okay, I want the outputs of Pure Data to go into the inputs of Ableton. And I want the outputs and the monitors of Ableton to go to my sound card. Basically, I say sound card, but it's external interface. But yeah, the monitor and the main outs, because basically what I can do now is the monitor is what gives you sound when you're just playing it and not actually recording. When you're recording, the main outs are used. So I have them both patched in. So basically you could patch multiple sources into multiple destinations, and that's the beauty of it. Yeah. And then down here is the MIDI. So basically I have my I have another Arturia key step right here at this this station, and that's going into this says wine here, but that's basically the Windows implementation that's feeding MIDI data to Ableton. So basically think of this as going to Ableton. And then out from Ableton to a MIDI through, which is really just a basic virtual MIDI loopback where you go into it here and that same MIDI comes out here. Basically, this output needs to go to an input, and then this output can then take what comes to this input and funnel it here to Pure Data. So basically, the MIDI goes from the keyboard into Ableton first, where it can be recorded, and then it comes out and goes to Pure Data, where the synthesizer can then be driven by the MIDI. So anyway, yeah, in the future, if people want me to, I can definitely do some videos on some sound tutorials for specifically Linux Mint, because it can be a little different from one distribution to another, the things that you got to do. But there aren't many things out there on Linux Mint in audio production. I'm sure there's plenty of people doing it, but just maybe a lot of them haven't made videos. I mean, you can see plenty of videos on Ubuntu Studio or regular Ubuntu. Linux Mint is based on Ubuntu, but it is a little bit different. And this version is 21.2 Victoria, which is based on Ubuntu Jammy Jellyfish, and so that's 22.04. But basically the idea is it's based on, but you know, a little bit different. And so if people would like, if you're interested in using Linux Mint, or you're already using it and you're having some troubles with audio, I could definitely try to help. It was a bit of a journey myself, figuring some things out, but I put it all together and how to get everything working through Pipewire. And so you still have ALSA, Pulse Audio, and Jack functionality all within Pipewire, and you know, no latency. I mean, I'm just touching the keyboard and blah blah blah. It works great. So there, you know, I can basically record straight to the DAW. Of course, I don't have a metronome on, but anyway, this video is mostly meant to be short and just show you what I've been doing and some of the things I'd like to do. So basically, yeah, I'm sticking with doing tutorials on Pure Data and synthesis and creating things in Pure Data, but I'm going to be incorporating that with interacting with a DAW now, so that you can get a little bit more fluid and functional with your use of Pure Data. I'm going to rewind and you see it plays back. there we go. So, hey, it's like having a VST plugin. There is, to be said, something called plug data, which is like a kind of pure data for using as a plugin, and it can be compiled into like a VST synth or an effect, or loaded as a VST plugin basically within DAWs. I had difficulty with it in loading it in Ableton within Wine. I don't know if it's a Wine thing that was keeping that from happening, but you know, this is a great workaround. And plus, plug data is in its alpha stage still, and so it is quirky and all that. Plus, in Ableton, here's another thing. I'd like to make Ableton videos, and if you're interested in that, let me know. Because Ableton, it's not just for beat making. It's a great all-around DAW. A lot of sound artists and electroacoustic and electronic people that are interested in art music and create art music use it because it is deep. It has a great set of instruments, and I haven't even installed all the instruments for Live Suite yet. So that is something that's coming in time as I add more instruments. I'm going to keep the basic ones in here so I can make some videos on some of the basic ones that, like if you have the intro edition, or I think the middle one is called Studio one. I don't remember, but there's like 3 tiers, and whichever edition you have, I'd like to start with the basic ones. I think it's going to be called Learn Synthesis with Ableton Live, and basically that way I can teach fundamentals of synthesis again, but more in a DAW-like environment where you're using some of the more common virtual instruments. It won't be exclusive to Ableton, so it should benefit people that want to learn synthesis otherwise, but also for those who use Ableton, maybe it'll help you understand your instruments a little bit more deeply so that you can get the sounds you really want and select the right instrument for the job, and then also use it more effectively. So that's another topic. So we still got pure data. We got my analog synthesizer stuff. Me bringing some music to you, some performances as well as tutorials, and then Ableton Live. Oh yeah, so it's starting to stack up. And down here in my bar here, you see these guys? That's VCV Rack. I'll show you in a moment, but that's another area that I'd like to do some videos on. Yeah. So I'm going to show you that in a moment, but first I'm going to take you to, let's see, I had my web browser here. There it is. So anyway, I wanted to take you to the channel just to show you how I'm going to organize things. I'm going to keep this bar at the top where it shows the more recent videos, with the most recent towards the left. Of course, you could also hit the videos tab, and everything is from most recent going back in time, so you can always find what you maybe are looking for. The idea is that I'm not going to be keeping everything in playlists, only those things where I'm doing something that's going to be sequential teaching or something like that, where it's multi-episodes about things. But if there's one little standalone topic that I do, that's going to be on its own. Or if I do a little musical performance or something like that, that will be, some standalone stuff unless it's part of a series. But anything that's in playlists, I mean, you could go to the playlists tab up here. And yeah, things are organized in playlists here, but you got to read through and see which one you're looking for. But on the main home page, I like to organize things where it's the horizontal bars with multiple playlists by topic. And so multimedia art, which means incorporating visualization with audio. This is the series I started, exploring multimedia art with PD Lork. I will be continuing to do this this sort of thing, but I'm going to be calling it, exploring multimedia art with Pure Data now. PD Lork is one of the flavors of Pure Data, and so is Per Data. There's a number of flavors, and so I want to put it all under the heading Pure Data. It doesn't mean that if you like PD Lork and you're working with that you need to switch. Definitely not. You can keep using it. At the core, they're the same languages, and since I know about PD Lork and stuff, I can tell you if there's some difference in what I'm doing. Basically, the whole idea of the titling will be to make things more inclusive. And then Per Data, which used to be PD, well, it's a fork of PD Lork, and so Per Data is based on PD Lork and is going its own direction. I'll be using that in order to get the PD Lork data structures, which I really like, the 2D animation type things that you can do. I can do that with Per Data, but I'm going to be using Per Data for that instead of PD Lork now, because there's a couple of bugs with PD Lork that, I'd prefer to use Per Data for that, but it'll look pretty much the same for people still using PD Lork. The reason why I used it to begin with in this series was I was teaching a class where there would be Windows and Mac users, and the Mac users wouldn't have been able to benefit if I used Per Data, because I used Gem in half of that class, and Per Data actually in the help browser does say for Gem that it's Windows and Linux only, but it's not the case in PD Lork. So I use PD Lork instead, because then, the Mac users are included. So if I do things with Per Data, I'll just say for Mac, use PD Lork, and things will look the same, and you'll be able to follow along, and everything will be cool. But I'm going to call the series Pure Data because it encapsulates all the different flavors. And I may use Pure Data Vanilla with Gem for some things, because I like that Pure Data Vanilla itself is a little bit more stable, and I can add the different externals I need for what I want to do to use it. The only thing I can't do is the data structures that are PD Lork and Per Data only. And so those things, their type of data structures. The Pure Data Vanilla does have data structures, but they're different. Well, they're related, but Per Data and PD Lork just make them a lot easier. And so I'll be working with them. And synthesis will definitely continue with Pure Data, but you'll see me incorporating things more with a DAW and everything, and trying to make, things a little bit more useful. And I will say this, that my style is going to change a little bit, because I'm going to basically make things ahead of time and then give you a tour of it, so you can learn how it was made and how it works, but you don't follow along with me for a few hours. The reason why I did that to start was those were for classes, and basically you want to also, when you're teaching this environment called Pure Data or PD Lork, you want to kind of go along and build with the students, so that way they get to know it and stuff. But now, since those series are there, anyone that's fresh and new to Pure Data can go to the beginning and kind of like learn synthesis with Pure Data, and maybe not even the whole thing, and get comfortable with Pure Data, and then go on and be able to watch my more recent videos, or my upcoming videos, where things are pre-built and I just give a tour. So the videos will basically be shorter in length, although they'll still have a bit of length to them, because the tours might get a little bit, lengthy, but basically things will be built ahead of time. And that what I'll probably do is also on my website have downloads, so people can download the patches. Just to show you, that website would be the wayfarerproject.com right here. So yeah. And all the content from the YouTube channel is also doubled here. And this will just be a better place to also, I mean, it's a place where you can have downloads and stuff. And of course, my music's here as well as on the YouTube channel. My albums, as well as my music videos. Sound art videos, I guess you would say. Now here, remember before I was talking about VCV Rack, which is down here. Oops, no, that's OBS. Here we go. I have two icons because I have two versions, the original VCV Rack and now VCV Rack 2. It's basically a Euro Rack virtual modular system. And here there's a playlist of 3 movements of an overall piece called Determined by Whom. Okay, I'm not going to play the whole thing, but you're welcome to enjoy these pieces from that playlist. But basically, yeah, everything you're hearing is coming from this. And the software is down here to do it. And so basically, I can do some tutorials on how to use VCV Rack and incorporate that also with, learning some synthesis fundamentals, because it's a way where there's these pre-built modules, and how you patch them is basically a great learning tool for understanding synthesis better, signal flow, what the different terms mean, what different things do. And this software utilizes the classic terminology like VCO, and even though there is no voltage controlled oscillator, really, it's all digital software, but it uses all that terminology as if you had this physical analog gear here. But, Eurorack systems are expensive and stuff, beautiful sounding, but, well, I mean, the good ones are beautiful sounding and stuff. But this allows you to get pretty darn close and really enjoy yourself in the building process. So that's another thing. Of course, all my music and music video creations are here as well. Also, I just want to take a little time to point out my wife, Liza Sahito, has the Psyche Electroacoustic Opera Company. She's been building cigar box guitars, and you can see all about that here on her channel. We are finishing up a batch of guitars that we're taking to market here at the end of October. And wow, what a journey that's been. And so she makes her own guitars, and they sound great. Real rustic, but in tune. Great sounding slide acoustic and electric, basically, because she puts piezos in them. And she also does make preamps, separate preamps, and she has videos on making those and refining the preamps to get them sound right. And she does some tutorials on building the guitars and stuff too. So it's you should check out that channel. And here's my gaming channel. It's gaming for thinking people, really. It's you're into Call of Duty or something like that. That's not what I do. It's crafting and building and terraforming in like RPG fantasy worlds and stuff. I'll be picking up here with Solace Crafting again quite soon. But in any case, yeah, the idea is, let me know in the comment section if any of these topics interest you, and what your favorite would be. I plan on doing all of them. It's just, it's good to have a little bit of a feel of like what people are really interested in. Definitely going to be diving into Ableton. It's deep software, but I know that it's not, you know, it's something where, yeah, I guess you can have a free trial and check it out for yourself. And since I'll be making more videos, maybe you could do the free trial and check it out and stuff if you don't already have it. If you do have it and you want to know more deeply what those instruments do, that's what I'll be focusing on, is the instruments and effects, and basically how to create great sounds with it, and you know, just understanding your knobs and sliders and number boxes better, so you know what the different things do to the sound. Yeah, so that's basically it for this video. I wanted to show you kind of like what I've been doing the past few weeks, how it's been coming together, and where it's going to be going. So I really appreciate you sticking around and waiting for me. If you're new, please subscribe to the channel. Help me out. Before, I built up LWM Music, my previous channel, up to 3,500 subscribers. I'd like to get there and go beyond that here with the Wayfarer Project. I moved to the Wayfarer Project because that on YouTube was my designated music channel that links up to the music app and everything. That's where my music goes. And so I decided, okay, my teaching stuff should go with the music, put it all together. So I'm not going to be producing for LWM Music anymore. I'll probably retool and reutilize that channel. But now it's all at the Wayfarer Project. And I'm going forward with this. I'm going to be making videos quite frequently, nearly every day now. Basically, as I compose and create, I'll be putting out tutorials and stuff on it. And yeah, so let me know what you think in the comment section. Please like, share, subscribe, help me out. This is a journey, and we're going to get there. So until then, take care and stay free.